this is where we sit. So the green tape on here is where I'm gonna cut, because I'm gonna cut all that off. And I'll explain why. The V-band portion of it sits like right in line with this. And I really don't like how far in it sits. I want that the clamp itself to be out here. So we're gonna move all that back. Instead of the idea at first was to notch all this here, because the V-band clamp sits right in line with this. And I guess my measurements were kind of off on that. So instead, well, they were supposed to sit right here, but they ended up too close to the core support. So instead of cutting the core support, it's just a lot easier to cut these, which was a good idea, Tony. Good job. Good idea. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. Cut these back. And I want this flange sitting right about here. It makes everything shorter too, which is a lot better. So, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it and re-weld it. It kind of sucks because this whole thing is pretty much done. I mean, I got the top brackets on, the bottom brackets are on, which go in these little holes here, which hold these rubber pieces that go on that. So, and you can't really get them back off either. There you go. Tony's trying new things. Man, it's dark in here, jeez. All right, so what we're doing today is Tony and I are getting this this whole thing torn apart here. We're not tearing it apart, but, okay. Give me 1 sec.
Open it up.
Did you figure it out? Oh, God. I think we got it.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's loose here. Yeah, come out. Okay.
You just, there we go.
Now you're gonna have to like maneuver it out. All done. So, what we're doing is we have the intercooler in now, as you can see. That's on the last video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The building of this intercooler from pretty much scratch. We just got a core and made all the rest of it. So what you didn't see in that last one was the brackets being made. So you can see you're coming off the core support here, bracket here, isolator. You gotta have some vibration for this thing to be moving around. So there's a big 1-inch isolator here, and then on the bottom, I don't know if you can kind of see it. Yeah, you can see it in there. This ended up coming down over back up, so that's just the bracket for itself. And then there's a like nipple thingy in there, and it just sits. Tony, we are adult. Then there's the bolt on the bottom, and basically a bolt just goes straight up. And I cut all the threads off, and it has a sleeve on it. and round it off, and then put that on the top, and there you go. So now it just sits in there just like so. So what we're gonna do is connect now the 64 mil turbo from Smetting Performance, and we're gonna go from here, don't mind that, that's not important, to here. Just pretty much a straight shot. So then on this side, obviously, is gonna be the same thing. Don't mind all the wiring. And believe it or not, all of this, all of it, like I said in the last video, is headlights. Every single bit. All these boxes, all of this is headlights. This unbelievable amount of wire. Now we're gonna go from this pipe here, down, over, into there, and there's gotta be a coupler somewhere in there. Now, if you wanted to just do a boot, like a boot here and a boot here, you could do that too, if that's what the owner, what's his name? Mateo? Mateo. If that's what he wants, then he can do that and just have a pipe come out with a bead on it, and then put a boot on it, clamp, and then a pipe running up through the middle. Right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's it. And that's what we're gonna start doing right now. Oh, one more thing. The other thing we're gonna be doing today, after I'm done talking your ear off, is aside from this, once we get this done, these boots, the shackles need to move. That big mount needs to move backwards, because that angle on that shackle is ridiculous and very wrong. These springs, these are soft, I think soft ride or something. Hey, Paul, you don't know. Look at him all puffed up.
I'm not puffed up, that's just how I am.
Oh, naturally. So these are soft ride springs, and after a while, after being clamped down or strapped down on the trailer, these things flattened out a lot. The angle of these shackles was right to begin with, and now they are definitely not. So those are gonna, what'd you say?
Nothing.
Don't look at me in that tone of voice,
Yes,
dude.
sir, carry on.
We're gonna do that, and then Paul has a lot of work to do under here, because he's gotta move and plumb that fuel filter way back there, because we know that Mateo is going to break it off real bad. It won't last but 5 minutes, and then shear off those filters. By Air Dog, go check them out, Air Dog. Okay, so we got our original piece that did all its crazy shapes in front of the radiator, or behind the radiator. And now it's all chopped apart. So I'm gonna use, Hey, I'm gonna use this piece and this piece. So we're gonna take these over here, and I'm gonna put this one, which I put a bead in the end with a little tiny bead roller. You see? That way, the clamp has something to, well, clamp on. So we're gonna put this in here. Get that thing on, man. Okay. Then this radiator hose, which is all kind of like just half-ass put together, I'm gonna make an aluminum piece that comes up and around and makes it really nice. Then this long piece here is gonna go from the intercooler, welded on with a V-band so it can come off, and then we'll cut this one right about where that mark is down there, so it just kind of snakes around that, and then we're good. That's what I'm gonna do with this one. So I'm gonna make this one right now. All right, so next up, while that is being done on the little tiny car over there, Tony over here, Tony, he's a good metal fabricator, and what we're doing here is building the cross member for the back of the Cuda. And this is the cross member that was left out because we didn't really have time to do it during Cleats and Cars. So now we're doing that. So what he does is he'll measure out his stuff and he draws all over this desk. And then he'll sand it off. Is that right?
I don't sand it off, just clean it off.
You what?
Thinner.
Oh, thinner. Yeah, thin it, yeah, definitely cleans it off. So, draws it all out like a blueprint, and then he'll transfer this to a giant chunk of metal, which is, I think we're using 3/16 steel. Oh yeah, that thing. Big, giant piece of metal. And then we'll cut, he will cut 2 of these out on this with a plasma cutter, and those are going to go. All right, see that right there, that little hump where the white paint is, whitish paint? It's gonna go up and over and back down right there. Yeah, that's where it's gonna go. And then later on, when this thing gets back from Matt doing whatever he's gonna do to it, all of this gets cleaned up. So you guys will see, good God, oh Jesus, and get every single piece done underneath. And that's when it all starts to look really pretty. Just like Tony. All right, so we'll do an update really quick on Tony's cross member. Like I was saying, that he's doing the cross member underneath the car. And this was made out of 3/16. Do what, back where?
So you can point where it's gonna go.
Well, I want to show it first.
Well, I know, it's right here.
Okay. All right, so cross member for the back. This one goes right on the other side of the gas tank, like I was showing you just a minute ago, right there, okay? And that is this one here. Basically just made a boxed cross member. This looks really good, dude.
Thanks.
Nice welds. Look at these welds. They look beautiful. So big chunk here. This little raise, obviously is for the drive shaft, just in case. I mean, I highly doubt that thing's ever gonna touch. Over here, we're gonna put some notches, and that's for the fuel lines to run through. But I just wanna show y'all really quick this giant chunk of steel that Tony made. Looks really good.
It's warm.
It is kind of warm in it. Yep. Okay, so now that these are all said and done, the pipes are in, we are good to go on that. I ended up having to put 2 sections in here because this one coming down, just, it didn't feel like enough wiggle room for as much as these diesels move around. Like, especially when you shut them off, they just rock like crazy, you know, going back and forth. So I wanted to make sure I didn't, you know, have any chances of cracking anything in there. But on this other side, I think I'm gonna end up doing the same thing and cut. Oh God, I don't even want to cut anything on there. But I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put one right here. This thing's pretty tight and strong and good to go. Smetting Performance has these boots, these little rings in there. And this is actually a, what do you call it? A reducer. So it goes from 3 to, I think 2 3/4 maybe, something like that. But yeah, looks really good. V-band clamps. These have the gasket in them, so you don't get any leaks. And we're gonna, all that wiring's going up in the fender when that gets there. And then we got roll cage going in soon. We also have roll cage coming out from like right about here. It just bolts to a plate that bolts to another plate on the inside that has a roll cage that goes down to the floor. And this one's just gonna run across and down to our mounts down here. and that's gonna hold the fender on. We need something to bolt the fender to. So that's that. Now the other thing too is I can't just leave that intercooler hanging out in the open like that, because that is the first thing to hit anything. So I think what we're gonna do is do like kind of like a bull nose kind of thing, a tube that comes up from these original bumper brackets, up, over, back down, and then another one coming down and over here, and then a big 1/4-inch plate that basically comes from here and up to that, and put some holes in it, you know, so it can breathe. And that way he can like hit trees and other cars and stuff, and it won't just destroy that intercooler, because I really don't want to build another one. DEMOS dash just showed up again, and I say again because it was done once and it was all in aluminum, and then our buddy from One Day Wraps, Peyton, was like, dude, I can wrap that dash bezel, and it's just crazy stainless color. See that? Looks so good. And the best part is we can take this bronze, copper, stainless finish, and we can put it on anything on this thing. We can do the shocks, some engine pieces, all the interior stuff. We can use that on anything. And there's this color, which Matt picked out, but there's also, you know, darker ones, and there's, you know, a billion colors you can wrap in, but looks awesome. What do y'all think? Looks so good. And those NVU gauges are gonna look crazy in here. So that's another thing that's coming up too, is in a couple videos from now, we are going to take this and we're gonna put it into the Cuda. Well, I mean, you kind of get my drift, you know, so I didn't like that. It's gonna look good. This is the original one here. So that's about what they looked like. They had one big fat gauge and 4 small ones. And we're going to 2 big ones and 6 smaller ones. It's gonna look great. We can wrap the column. We can do anything with that finish on it. Yes. All right, y'all, so as you well know, I did buy, man, that's bright. I did buy the Ford from Matt. Now, I'm not really a Ford type of person unless it comes to old cars. In this case, for the project I have coming up pretty soon, which you will see, the demo car's got to go, and I'm trying to have it out by the end of February, hopefully. Then in comes the next project specifically for this channel. So all the other cars that we have in the shop are clients' cars. You already know all that. But this one is something different. It's just built for the channel. That's it. And maybe for things like road trips, places that we need to go, maybe clean some cars, stuff like that. And that's why I'm bringing up this next project. So the truck is now here. Matt's that he got all the engine and transmission stuff out of is here now, and now I'm stuck with it no matter what. So this cab I'm getting rid of, I'm selling. All right, so I will tell you, the project coming up is a Mustang. I'll give you that much. It's a Mustang. It's a 69 fastback, and it is completely rotted to pieces. There's not much left of the car. And for what I'm wanting to do, that's a really good thing. The thing I really like about this and the Mustang is that it's got a Dana 80 under it that hold duals. Yeah, Dana 80, duals, 2-wheel drive. Now, if you know anything about me, I love dualies. I love them to death. And I would dual out anything. Kind of where I'm going with this. You know, we already build wide body Mustangs and wide body Chargers and Challengers and Cudas, Roadrunners, Corvettes, you know, all that stuff. Everything's wide body. So I have to build my own. I'm gonna build my own wide body. And I've always been a Mopar fan. You know, my first car was a 69 Charger, then I had a Challenger, and so on, but I think it's time to move on towards a Ford. That just sounds weird. Now, we've already built many cars, lots of cars, and a lot of them are wide bodies, a lot of them are factory, but I think the plan that I have is, it's stupid, but it's stupid enough to where it makes sense, and it's cool.